Welcome to the Restoration Domination Podcast, where you learn actionable advice that moves the needle and helps service-based businesses dominate. Here's your host, Rico Garcia Jr.
All right, what's going on, Dominators? Rico Garcia here. Today, I am joined by John. John, thank you so much, man, for taking the time out of your day to hang out with us and kind of share a little bit about your story. And for those that aren't familiar with the name, maybe you've never seen you before, do me a favor, just give us a quick little background and let us know who you are and what it is that you do in the industry.
Yeah, John, or AKA Johnny Gabe. That's my radio and TV personality. My background, I grew up in Philadelphia, not the prettiest postcard version. Grew up in survival mode, learned pretty easy. Life doesn't hand out fairness. So violence, loss, chaos. I've been shot twice, stabbed. I've been through literal chaos. I hit a point in life where everything caught up to me. All the wrongs took the pain and all the pride. And moved out here to Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, when I was about 18. I needed a change in pace, and it just wasn't, Philly just wasn't doing it anymore. Got the job. I worked in the Carpenters Union. Actually, prior to that, I was a sales rep for Verizon Wireless. Worked there for a while. And didn't like that. Opened up my own bounty hunting company. I was a bounty hunter for about 3 years. Did that. That was kind of fun.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So did the bounty hunting thing for a while, and went from that to, I kind of fell off, took a sabbatical, and then got into the trades. The trades for about 6 months, and that's when I realized I just didn't want to do it anymore. It just wasn't for me. I couldn't work for anybody. I had that I felt like I had a chip on my shoulder maybe, and did that for a little bit. And my first year, I made about $500,000 doing just carpentry work, just side work, drywall, stuff like that. Anything I could get my hands on, building a deck, it didn't matter, whatever it was. So that was more money than I'd ever seen before. I took that and I was like, man, there's something to that. And if I did that part-time and made $500,000, I can imagine what if I really applied myself. So first year, my wife, she was really the catalyst to it all. She was like, we need to do something we're going to do this. We're going to do it the right way. We need to do it. We got to pay taxes and this. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay taxes and give my,
what's all that?
Yeah, a quarter of my money away. No, it doesn't even sound good. She's like, yeah, but if just trust me, if you do this the right way, it's going to, like, you know what I mean? You get credit and this and that and the other. I'm like, all right, well, try it. Once you start, you can't stop. We did that and worked for until 2019. So from 2014 to 2019, her and I worked together, and a lot of long sleepless nights doing construction. And man, our second year was $1 million, 1.2, and so on and so forth. But we kind of hit a ceiling in the construction industry, and residential construction anyway. You can only go so far. You have to really make the good money. You got to go into like commercial stuff like that, to really like kind of get in there. But then you're dealing with big guys at that point, and that's really a hard arena to break into. So we were looking for something different. We found a restoration company. I knew nothing about restoration, so I was like, man, I wonder if we can do this by ourselves rather than to buy into a franchise. And I tried, and I just couldn't figure it out. So we bought into the franchise, and we did a franchise with 911 restoration. We did that for a while, and it did the same thing. It was, our first year was $700,000, next year $1 million, blah blah. We got all the way up to $2.8 million. And same thing. We're doing residential, commercial, but you're still fighting with these big guys that have been around 70 plus years. And right. you really can't dominate in those areas without really like having like a something cutting edge. They're getting all the property management accounts. I'm sending sales guys in there. My sales guys are saying, hey, I'm such and such with 911 restoration. You should use us. And they're like, well, are you going to give us the deals that, Service Master or Serve Pro or, all the big guys are giving? We're like, yeah, we could compete, but then they still call them because, they've been around forever. Right. So they got spiffs and stuff that we just can't compete with. So, we did that for quite a while, and I mean, it just really got old.
It has a tendency to get old really quick, right? Like, trying to compete, and then you're like, wait, you're kind of looking around, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. It really felt like, we hired we had some really good salespeople all the time, And just like, we just couldn't get through it. We really tried. I mean, we were doing a lot of reconstruction too, which was a big portion of our revenue. Then we later found out, that's really that was a really even though the numbers were a big portion, it was a really small, revenue, actual, net revenue generator. It really didn't. It almost sometimes made us
A
negative.
lot of busy work.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
A lot of busy work, a lot of bodies, a lot of movement, but like really when you sit down at the end of it, you're like, man, okay, what did I do all this for?
Man, it was crazy. Yeah, some of the numbers we some 7%, and I'm like, holy cow, how are we only getting 7%? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
rough.
it's nuts. And this was with the with the water with the restoration side, right? With the franchise.
Yeah, yeah, the restoration side. Yeah, we did the water, fire, mold, and the biggest thing, the biggest revenue generator obviously is fire. Those are the biggest dollars right away, but those probably take 10 plus months to do.
Right.
So you take 10
Yeah.
months.
And there's never like I never feel like there's enough of those to go around. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like at least on a consistent basis, right?
right. Well, then you get.
So then after that, what happened?
Yeah, so I mean, we were fighting against people that had like franchises like 1-800 Board Up, right? So then all the
Mhm.
1-800 Board Up gets all the fire jobs, and then you get Service Master, and ServPro gets all the commercial water jobs. So then you're like, what do you do?
Mhm.
Like, how do you get into the next level? Like, where are you going to get you got to pay plumbers and HVAC guys and all these other guys to really get more money from it. So then you're giving a bunch of your money away to get money. We started a training program with resident like local plumbers. We went to local plumbers, and like we started like teaching their plumbers how to look for mold. Like, we were just doing anything we could,
Mhm.
like literally anything. We tried it all. We were paying spiffs to plumbers, and we were paying spiffs to HVAC, like anything that like other construction companies. We were marketing everybody. So it was pretty. We literally pulled every trick out of the bag to get that 2.8.
And so once you hit that number, like, and again, and this is like a story that a lot of people go through. They finally get to the point. It's like that's it. Like I feel like I'm at the end of the road. Like, what do we do from here? Like, how do we break through? Like, what was where was your mind at that point?
So my mind at
And
that point was next. What do we do next? I was looking at contents, because contents is
mhm,
it's a big revenue generator, but you also need a lot of space to do it, and you need bodies. So we just, at that point, we started looking for places, and either the place was too big, or it was not big enough. There was never like the perfect
mhm,
spot. So then I was like, well, I can build for, I own the construction company. I can do all the building myself. I can do that, but then you have to have 20% down. On $1 million, it's a lot of money, so you're like, what? I
mhm.
mean, there's got to be something out there that can just get me to the next level, something where I can just push the needle a little bit further. And yeah, that was, we quickly realized that that wasn't going to be our thing. Carpet cleaning was going to be our next. We were looking at carpet cleaning because, so it's a good loss leader. It gets you into a lot of those commercial accounts. But again, it's just busy work. You're competing against guys that are charging a quarter of what you're going to charge to get, the work, because they've been doing it for so long. And yeah, they just stop people at these places.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in carpet cleaning. Yeah. Again, at least in my opinion, I'm sure I know that there's tons of companies that still do it. Like you
Yeah.
said, good loss leader. If you're already in there, it's perfect. But man, it's kind of hard to, to go through that effort just even to get to a location, bring down your gear
Yeah.
for like what this pays out. Like, at least for me, I was always like, I'm good. I'll stay at the house,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's rough.
So basically, once you're there and you like kind of like exhaust all of your resources, what was your next move? Like, what was it that caught your eye?
So I was listening to I'm a big podcast listener. I've been listening to you since forever, since the beginning. And I came across a podcast, and they had a gal on there, and she was talking about, oh, actually, sorry, let me back up. So me and my wife, we were like, you know what, we'll just open up another location and spread out, like we'll get more revenue by going, a little bit further north, and then a little bit further west, and a little bit further south, and we'll just keep opening these like little micro territories. But then we quickly
Mm-hmm.
realized, like, how are we going to actually manage that, with the crew that we have here, and everything here, it's like so spread apart. You're like, to get somewhere meaningful, you're an hour and a half, 2 hour drive, which is doable, but it can be pretty hard. So I mean, we just kind of like, we're just kicking that can down. I was like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We kind of like bits and pieces started to try to do it. And one day I was just listening to a podcast driving down the road, and it was me and my wife. And, we, uh, we were listening to, I can't remember which one it was, but anyway, we were listening to a couple podcasts, and this lady was talking about how uh, she has a restoration company that does $2-3 million a year, and it's and predominantly driven by plumbing, and how this plumbing company that she has is all, upfront money right now. Every job we do, we get paid today. And that's really what caught my attention. I was like, you get paid today? Like, hold on, I'm waiting 60, 90 days, sometimes 100 if I get paid. With restoration, it's like,
Right.
yeah, up and wait. So we're like, okay, that sounded cool. I wonder if I looked at it, like, could you imagine doing that? That would be pretty cool. Like, be a plumber, right? And we just didn't really pay it no mind. And then I want to say it was just a few months later, I heard another podcast, and it was another person from the same company saying pretty much the exact same story. And I was like, that's crazy. And their story was just about the same revenue. They're bringing in the referrals and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, we're sitting in the car again. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, there's got to be something to this. We should really look into this. And my wife is really like, she's one of those people that are like, no, don't, like, we're not doing that. Like, slow down, dude. Like, calm down, put the horse back in the stable. Right. But this one, she was like, that really sounds like a good idea. So I was like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's look at it. She called. She had talked to them, and it didn't really sound promising. I'm not gonna lie. They were like, when I talked to them, they were like, we'll get back to you, but I just want to let you know, like, we don't accept everybody that calls us. Like, that's not our thing. Like, we're not trying to sell a franchise to everybody. So I was like, oh, that sucks. Maybe it's not as good as I thought it was, right? They call us and they vet us through the phone, and it actually was a really good phone call. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not as bad. They invited us out to see them, and this is in early stages, right? They invited us out to see them. We go out there and we get to the hotel, and literally the minute we walk through the hotel door, like, they had like invaded our room. They had been there before we got there. There's like one-time gear. We got shirts and all kinds of one-time swag everywhere, like pink blankets and like just everything One-Time Plumber all over the room. And my wife was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I was like, okay, don't let that sell you, babe. So we go to we go there the next day, wake up, go there, we're all refreshed, and we get it. And literally, man, I can't even explain this. You've been there, right, to the headquarters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you walk in the door. As soon as you walk in, like, it just feels different. Like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels different. We walk in and we're just like, man, this feels like home. And man, the whole time, everything that they talked about was everything that we believed in anyway. Everybody was nice, and it wasn't like a front. Like, it was nobody was faking. Like, Rocky is the president, right? Man, he's just such a character, but like, he is so much like I am. He'll say it. If you don't fucking like you, he don't like you, and he'll tell you. But if he likes you, like, he's like, he just opens up his office. He's like, come in. Yeah. He let us sit with, like, we went on the restoration side, and that's was the coolest thing for me was we went on the restoration side, and he's like, if you don't think you can do this plumbing thing, I'll give you the keys to make your own plumbing company. I don't give a fuck. He's like, this ain't for everybody, and I might not be a good fit for you, and you might not be a good fit for me. I want it to be perfect. So that right there, I was like, wow, he's willing to just let us just roam around and figure it out, right? So we talked to the restoration people, asked them tons of questions, learned so much. We went back with so many. We're like, we got to change everything about our restoration company, but we came back. But man, it was so great. Like, we left there with like a sense of urgency, for one, because we got to really like talk to the people and find out, like, but the one thing that was really scary, and I remember this, like, and I was like, how in the hell are we going to do plumbing? Like, I'm not a plumber. How am I going to do plumbing? I don't know nothing about plumbing. But when we were there, they were telling us, like, like, most people aren't. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We're most of these guys that come through, 99% of them are not plumbers. And I'm like, well, how the hell are you gonna be a plumbing company but not be a plumber?
Right.
It just didn't make sense to me. So then I was kind of worried. I was like, I don't know if this is for us. Like, let's push the pause button for a second, honey. Let's just think about this, because I don't even let my guys detach and reset toilets. I call a plumber for that. Like, that's how against doing plumbing I was. So it was really nerve wracking. And again, zero plumbing experience. So I was like, I'm not doing it, man. I think we should just wait. So the wife and I were just talking.
Didn't know the difference between a pea trap and a booby trap.
Dude, I was like, what? Yeah. So they really helped us, man. It was weird. So like, they're like, we can't help you do the plumbing. We can't teach you how to be the plumber, but we'll give you all the tools you need. Trust me. There's a guy there named Mike. We call him Big Mike. And he's like, dude, he's like, I'll just be honest with you. He's like, I didn't know the first thing about plumbing. He's like, but this shit's like Legos. Yeah, I'm telling you, just trust us. We will get you through it. And man, again, I'm a part of another franchise. This franchise has changed my whole, like, I know I have a lot of friends in this industry that are in franchises. And when I told them about this franchise, they were like, "Nah, I'm good, man. I'm done with franchises after this." And I'm like, "No, but you don't understand. Like this, you just got to talk to these guys. Just talk to them. The support that we've gotten. Again, I mean, it's been, I started in June of 24, and I've still not had any issues. When you call, I've called these guys in the middle of the night, and they've been like, Johnny on the spot. But not to get too far off the topic. Yeah. So we got in there. We loved it, and we were like, you know what, we're gonna do it. We pulled the trigger, and they helped us through the whole process. They helped us get ready of it, get ready for everything. Opening day, like literally everything. All promises were kept, which was really such a different thing for us, man. And I don't know. I mean, I think you know a lot of guys.
What was that? If we were to run a comparison, just in your experience, right, between the level of support and the level of guidance, or however it is that you want to break that down and quantify it, versus like what you experienced when you went over to One Tom, like what would you say? Like what stood out?
Well, and that's the thing is like, so what, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about the restoration franchise that I'm with, but when you experience something as good as One Tom franchise, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to not say that that's bad. You know what I mean? Like we thought that everything we were getting was good. And man, I was a really big like supporter of my franchise. Man, I touted the colors, and I was the brand ambassador for that company for a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
But when we got a taste of what One Tom had to offer, it really opened my eyes, and I was actually mad. When we came home, we were happy on the plane. We got home, and I was like, I'm actually kind of upset. And she's like, why? I was like, well, I mean, all the things that they're willing to give us, like, and for like hardly any of the cost that we pay for the current franchise we're in. Like, think about it. Like, think about how much we're not getting now. And she's like, wow, you're not lying. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think about it that way. And I was like, man, they got some explaining to do. I came back and I was like, you guys owe me some shit. Where's my pink towel, damn it? No.
That's great.
No, but they, the biggest thing, man, is like, it's like a level 10. I mean, their service to their franchisees is just next level. And I'm not getting paid to say any of this, man. This is like free. Like the proof is in the pudding. I did on this one. I made sure that so they give you a list. You can call all of their franchisees, and they give you a list as part of their FDD or whatever. And you can call all their franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I called every single franchisee and talked to them. And I didn't stop. I didn't make our decision until I talked to every single one. And not one. Well, there was only one person that did say something bad, but all they said was that they, like, their territory, like, they couldn't manage it because it was too much for them. Like, they couldn't get enough help.
Mm-hmm.
They were the only ones really working, but they were getting the help that like, they didn't say nothing bad about the headquarters. It was just, they were like, it's just so hard. We can't find guys, which is, I think, everybody's problem right now.
Which is a totally separate issue in and of itself, right? Which in
so
many
literally
ways, it's
nobody
even a
said anything
testament to
bad.
how well it works.
Yeah. But literally nobody said anything bad, which is crazy because even on my discovery phone calls with the last franchise, I didn't have anybody that said anything good about that company, and I still bought into it. So I'm telling you, it was totally different. It was.
That's funny.
I was like, I don't even care. I just want to get in so I can learn the recipe.
Yeah, you just want to get in, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So like you're still doing the restoration side as well, right?
Yeah.
So what has that done? And again, like, I know that you've been following along with the podcast for a while, like, like how many times I've had like somebody from One Tom on. Pretty soon I'm going to call it just the One Tom, Plumber podcast.
Yeah.
If it keeps up at this rate. But I just, again, because it's like, it's so many case studies, right? And it's so many different people with so many different backgrounds, that all had like one common denominator from one degree or the next, which is how the hell do I get more like water damage jobs? Like, that's it, right? Like the goal is always the same. It's like, I'm doing all of this shit because I need more water jobs, right? So for me, it's always interesting to like have this kind of a situation, have this, conversation, because I figured the more people that can hear from different people from different walks of life, different geographical areas, they can be like, holy shit, wow, this is like actually a good marketing machine for the business that you originally got into in the first place. Right. So that's why I love having like these conversations with you guys, because not only do you know the struggle of what restoration looks like, but then now you've got a case study of how things have been different for you. When was it? Was there a moment where you're like, and you finally like, you signed the documentation, you got the shirts on, you got the trucks. How long after you signed and you were ready to rock and roll were you like, oh wow, this is what I was waiting for? Like this makes sense.
Man, it was like June 26th is when we launched of 24. So this is our first calendar year in business. My aha moment, I guess, is what you're looking for. It came like the first week after the first week our second week in business. It's really when those phones started really ringing, and I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. Like, it's
just out of the gate. Like the phones were just ringing like out of the gate,
dude. Like, it was like the first week of training, they were kind of ringing, but then the second week it was absolutely out of control. There were so many calls.
Really?
we couldn't even get to everybody. It was so crazy. So since June 26th of last year, it has been like that till today. And
nice.
I attribute, I would say, a lot of that to One Tom. So they have their own digital marketing team in-house, and man, they do some really cool stuff to really push that needle with content videos and TikToks and YouTubes and Reels, and they manage your Facebook, and I mean, just so much. And I mean, they're really, really good at what they do. They have a really close relationship with Google. We have our own agent. Like, it's like, I mean, like they know the next stuff that's coming, so they're always on top of stuff. Yeah, that was the second week after we opened when I was like, oh, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, I think I just want to expand on that, because I attended this expo that just when was it? October, right? Yeah, just right around. Yeah, not long ago, beginning of October, and I was there, and I was actually in the crowd while the Google rep was talking about what they're doing, and how to actually look at lowering your cost, and like giving very, very specific, and by the way, easy to achieve. It's not like some pie in the sky type of thing. Real simple roadmap, like from a guy. And I've been to a ton of places. Not everybody has like their like own Google rep. And when we say like Google rep, we're not talking like like a Google partner who like got certified. For those people who are listening, like we're talking like an actual like Google employee, like an executive. That's what they do. And the level of service has been something that I was impressed with. Like even as a marketer, as being in advertising, I was like, oh wow, like this could be really, really valuable, right? Because they're on the bleeding edge of like what new algorithms are rolling out, like how AI is in the mix, what's really like across all of these data sets. What is it that's actually yielding results? Because they're not just looking at like your franchise, right? Like they're looking at the industry as a whole, and they've got more data than they know what to do with, right? So like you want to talk about a strategic advantage. Like that was big. That was definitely big.
Yeah. So then, I mean, from there, we put that, we initiated the salespeople, and that really changed the game too, is having boots on the ground, commercial jobs coming in right away. It really helped a lot, with, just driving that needle, because that's where your big money comes. It's net 30 at most times, but it's always bigger money, and it's more repeat business. So that was really important to us.
Yeah, so I just had Alvaro on a little bit earlier, and we were talking about like how easy it is by comparison as a plumber, for example, to develop business, to basically be like a route marketer, and just like how you're greeted in a totally different light. You're much more welcome in many ways than going in, we're like, hey, you know, I'm here
I
to
got
talk to you
a
about your
funny story
emergency
about that
response.
actually.
Shoot.
So we were trying to market this larger. I'm not going to say who. But it was a larger property management company here in our area, and we've been trying to market these guys for probably years, really. And we always got the same thing. You know, it's always okay. Yeah, well, you'll be our plan B. You'll be our plan B. And then we sent our guy in there with the logo, the one Tom Plumber, and because we didn't have it dual branded yet, and he just was wearing the one Tom Plumber. And like every time we went in, and prior to that, they were like, "Yeah, we're good. You know, we got you on the list. You know, there's no time for you, right? Get out of here." We put the plumber logo on, and as soon as they seen us, they were, "Oh my goodness! Like, yeah, come on in. We want to talk to you. Actually, you know, we have something for you right now." And it was like the dynamic
Yep.
was insane, and I was like, "What? Like, are you serious?" And they're
Did you
like,
get like shocked?
"Yeah, yeah." We were
You're
like,
like, you realize it's the same guy, right?
"Yeah, like
I
you know,
just
I was just
happened
saying
to
you're wearing
change my
orange the other day."
shirt.
Yeah, yeah. Like you know that we've been talking to you for 2 years, right? You know, like it was such a different dynamic. And when we talked to them, they, you know, we went from, okay, yes, we need your services, because think about it. There's really, I mean, we're 180,000 people short in the trades, you know, just in plumbing. That's huge, huge. We're running out of master plumbers. You know, like there's not enough of us to do the work that we do. So like, you know, I remember we had a commercial loss one day, and this is really what changed my mind about doing what we're doing and trying to get into plumbing. You know, I had a commercial loss, and you know, this water was the water. It was a main water line that was coming into this commercial building, and it was a strip mall. At the end of the strip mall was it was like a uh, all you can eat buffet. Well, it was flooding all the places, and it was getting into this buffet place. Well, that it seemed like they didn't care about nothing but this buffet, the property manager, because the buffet place was complaining. Anyway, we called 21 plumbers. Nobody showed up for 3 days. No plumbers showed up for 3 days. 3 days. And that water ran for 3 damn days. The city wouldn't shut up because it was private property.
Wow.
So yeah, this was prior to us being plumbers, man. And I was like, that's crazy. That's really what, like, in my mind sparked it. Because I was like, how is there not a plumber that's going to respond to this? I mean, we called all the biggest guys and everything, man. Nobody showed up for 3 days. So, I mean, look in your area. Try to call a plumber and see how far out he is. That right there will tell you if there's a need for it in your area. I mean, if they can't get to you till tomorrow, who the F is trying to wait until tomorrow for a plumbing emergency? You know what I'm saying? And let alone 3 days.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So, yeah, the dynamic is great, man. The getting us in the door is like, has been phenomenal. Like, we are in so many places that we would have never been able to get into if we just wore the restoration logo. Because there's 1,000 restoration companies. Everybody's a restorator. You don't need anything special to be a restoration company. You just go to get your certificate on, you know, get most of it online and be good. It's really not, and that's not to take anything away from that community, but like it's not as hard as a plumber. Like, you actually have to go to school for years to get the plumbing, the master license, and you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty heavily regulated. They don't have inspectors coming behind you in a water damage, you know? Everything you touch in plumbing, it has to be inspected. So it's definitely different. It's definitely different. And it's harder in most cases.
Yeah, and it just makes total sense, right? Like, that's where I think it's like, you know, when you have this perfect storm scenario, you've got the ability to not get your door slammed in your face just by changing out the logo, right? Just the simple act, that's enough. Secondly, it's also just a competition thing, right?
Yeah.
You're not walking in. You can go into any property management company or whatever the case may be, and you'll see you might bump into yet another restoration rep who's trying to close the same deal, or maybe they're like nurturing that deal, and you're just a different set of colors. It's all you are. Whereas you're never going to really bump into like another plumber, you know, prospecting the way that you guys do.
We never
Which I think
seen
which is amazing.
Yeah, we never seen a plumber salesman until us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always Chuck in the
That's the
truck
beauty.
Chuck in the truck would just go and meet these guys and be like, "Hey, do you guys need plumbing services? Let me know. Here's my card." You know, it was never like like we have sales, and they're like, "Yeah, you're a salesman for a plumbing company? That's crazy."
So how has that affected your restoration company?
Oh man.
Has that like rekindled any of the excitement? You know, did it dampen any of the despair of like trying to get through that like next growth stage, like where, you know, and again, you're still like pretty early for all intents and purposes on this journey, right? But like, what has it done for you like so far?
It's something. So we thought that it was just going to be the magic bullet, boom. It was just going to click on, and we were going to get a bunch of restoration jobs, and it wasn't like that. We had to train our guys. Now, once you train your guys, it is a game changer. But you know, everything, it's training, 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 man. It's all in how much you train. We train plumbing, we train drains, we train restoration, we train mold. Like, you know, we train every single day. So we take the first hour of our day, and that's what we do is train. So, and then once a month, we'd shut down for completely one day, and that's what we do is train. So, I mean, it's just
And you
all
guys,
in
when you
training.
say train, are you talking about training in the sense of like basically like role playing,
What to look for.
identifying, you know, how?
Yeah,
Okay.
identifying the issue. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Our guys pull a toilet, they see mold. That's you know, that's a liability for us, because if it's a rotted surface, we can't, as a plumber, you know, we're not putting that back down and potentially, you know, have somebody in the basement, you know. So
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of training that you got to do, and you got to teach people what to look for. Once you teach them what to look for, it's easy. You know, we added a lot to our bottom dollar, you know, our revenue on the restoration side, just by adding it, even more since we started training.
Yeah, I can imagine. What do you think is like looking at the landscape now? What do you think is in the future? I mean, you know, you touched on a really great point, which is we are extremely short on anything related to the trades, plumbing, HVAC, you name it. Like if it's like physical labor and people are going to like break a little bit of a sweat, like nobody
Yeah,
wants to deal with it, right? So but then that's also presented yet like another amazing opportunity for the right type of people, right? Which is like, okay,
right.
cool. Cause now it's gone to like this overpopulated, you know, dirty job type of thing, kind of like a little uneducated, you know, missing a couple of teeth, you know, you know, like that
Yeah,
mental image of you had of like the chuck in a truck type of deal.
yeah,
That's not really the case anymore. So if you look at like the trades, they've actually become quite sophisticated. You look at roofing companies today, it's not like your typical roofing company from like, you know, I don't know, 30 years ago, whatever the case may be. Same thing with plumbing companies, restoration companies, like all of this, just this level of maturity and sophistication. Where do you kind of see, you know, the industry going from here?
yeah. Honestly, I really feel that eventually, I mean, plumbing pairs so well with restoration. It's crazy. I mean, where there's water, there's going to be damage, right? And we were losing so many jobs to plumbers because that's who they would call first. And those plumbers were
Hmm.
already have relationships with other restoration companies. So then you're fighting that, you know, like who can pay the most, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's not even a loyalty thing. It's just like, hey,
No.
who can like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. They
I'm
don't.
getting
Yeah.
1,000 over here, but this guy's giving me 1,500. That deal's
Yeah.
going over there. Right.
Yeah. So that's really what it came down to. I think that it's going to move to more people doing what we do.
Mhm.
And I already see it. You know, I already see people every day. I see a different, you know, plumbing vehicle, drain cleaning / plumbing vehicle. And then, you know, as I'm starting to see the restoration tagged with it, you know, I think it's going to take a while. One Tom has 100% got it down. And that's really been the game changers. Like they have it figured out. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, this year, just this year so far, we're already at 2.1 million. I mean, that's
Wow.
yeah, our first year, you know, our first
Yeah.
calendar year in business already at two. We're gonna kill 2.2 this year.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so easily, we're gonna crush 2.2. So and then next year, it just you know, it's gonna be better than that. You know, so our first year in business, we did 1.8. You know,
Mhm.
so I
Now
mean,
let me ask you just so that I can get some clarity on this. When you say that you're at 2.1, is that exclusively on the plumbing side, or is that like
I mean,
plumbing and then plus so solely plumbing? Now,
you
do
know,
you have a figure? Do you have like a plus figure of what water projects or any kind of projects really you can attribute that came from the plumbing?
from
Because
that,
I mean, like the two, first of all, that's a fucking amazing, right? Like congratulations. But
yeah.
did it give any love to the resto side?
It did, and, about 3/4 of a million with mold and water. However, and I think that number is low. It could have been more. We had quite a few big jobs from it. We got a lot of commercial water jobs from it. I think that it could have been a lot more than that. You know, again, when you're going, you're running a gun, and I'm telling you, we when I say the phones did not stop ringing, the phones absolutely did not stop ringing. It was just like nonstop. They have been nonstop. We really just started training our guys this year on the water mold and all that stuff on how to pass
Mhm.
jobs over. We incentivized the program, and we have all kinds of stuff that we do now, but it's definitely next year is going to be, you know, come back. Let's talk about this next year, and it'll be double, easily double.
Yeah, and I want to just like highlight for all the dominators out there. It's like listen, like think about your typical ascension model, right? It is so much easier to, instead of going for, the $100,000 price tag, just for the sake of just using ridiculous numbers, it's so much easier to get 1,000 than it is to get 100,000, right? Especially on a first swing. And you see this like in your own buying habits. You see it in the way that you are pitched things, right? You've got that lot, like Costco's got what? It's got that like, $5 rotisserie chicken that they lose billions on every day.
Yeah.
But that buys time in the store. So it's that loss leader. And, if we're looking at it from that perspective, the amount of touch points that you can have at generally a lower price point, right? Because you can get a lot of the smaller stuff, right? Maybe like a little pipe or clogged toilet, whatever the case may be, those small little projects. And I think that a lot of people just miss that, because in many ways I think that the industry got snobby, just like really like ill-adjusted, because like the amount of money that you can go ahead and generate on a water mitigation job for dropping a couple of fans and a couple of dehues, and they were getting upset from like their $15,000 invoices getting dropped to 10 grand. I'm like, I'm sorry, when I got into the business, I was like, yo, you guys are like mad at that? Like, how are you mad at that? Like, at what point did you get like that spoiled that does no longer make sense? But when you put it into the context of, it's at 150, 250, $300, these are multiple touch points, right? That you're leaving a good impression on each and every single one of them. And that eventually, right, you're going to be that call, because again, you're constantly on site. Whereas with water mitigation or anything else, you can show up as many times as you want, drop off as many things as you want, but at the end of the day, they don't have an issue. So all you are is a smiling face that leaves trinkets. That's just you're Voltron. You're just like, hey, do you have an emergency yet? You know what I mean? It's totally different.
Yeah, it kind of feels sleazy. Yeah, I'll be your plan B. Yeah. And
look, man, I'm not knocking it, right? Because we're all in the business. Yeah, it is a fucking, it's a needed service. And yes, people are ridiculously relieved, when we walk in and they see the crew and they see the equipment and they see the dry out and we can get their business back. No one's arguing any of that. What I wanted to highlight is it's just a different feel. It just gives you more touch points to showcase your personality, showcase your professionalism, showcase your punctuality, like, just so many different things that's live in the mix without a very high risk rate financially. Right. Yeah. So when that time comes, it's kind of like, you've earned your stripes per se, to be like, you know what, if I'm going to have somebody do this, I might as well already get the person that's been in here 3 to 4 times. Customers love it. Everybody's fine. Tenants love it. Grab it. It's yours.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. Like the profit margins are crazy, and it's right now money, so we're not having to float payroll or any of that. Like for the first time, I've never had as much money in the bank as we do now. It's like we're cash flowing like crazy, and it's like it's hard, man, because you're like, how do you get all this money so fast? It accumulates so quick, and almost I was like, we're doing something wrong. Something's happening. We're taking double payments or something. We have way too much money in the bank right now. I'm not used to seeing that. It's like it's really been crazy. Man.
Let me ask you another question. Yeah. When you send. I'm sure you'll find this comical. When you send an invoice for the plumbing services rendered, do they be like, I don't know, John, you know what? I'd like to pay like 15% less than this.
No. And that's another cool thing.
That never happens, right?
No, there's no yeah. And
basically when you send out an invoice, your which is basically should be a representation of the value that you're attaching to the work, which you've already rendered, you're actually getting paid that. So you don't have to mentally, mentally masturbate yourself into understanding. It's like, well, I'm only going to get I'm going to get 50% less than this.
Yeah. No. And what's funny is we actually do work with insurance companies in the plumbing industry. Most people think that that insurance doesn't cover plumbing, but they do. And we actually have training in our facility for that. Again, training. But it's funny when we send our bill to insurance companies, they just pay it, literally just pay it. There's no arguing with them. I don't know if that's just because they don't understand the plumbing portion, or they understand how hard it is and what you have to go through for plumbing. But I've not had any pushback on anything from adjusters. on plumbing. So they don't ask for Exactimates, obviously, because you don't do an Exactimate. I had one guy actually, can you put that on Exactimate? We were like, what's that? We played stupid.
Yeah, what's
It's
that? I don't know
Exactimate.
what that is. Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I'm a plumber. But yeah, you know, like literally no pushback, and people pay. They pay right now. I mean, you're gonna have your customers like, wow, that's a lot of money, but you know, you explain it to them and explain why you're doing what you're doing, and you know, if you, it's all in the education. It's all in the explanation.
Right.
Again, we talked about this before we started. Like, I have an 8th grade education. You know, it's not hard. It's Legos. Like, it's really not that hard. I'm telling you, from a guy that did, like, my last completed grade was 8. You know, and I'm not proud of that, but you know, like, I went on to get my GED and stuff like that afterwards. But still, like, I shouldn't be where I'm at today. I shouldn't own a plumbing company that makes multi-millions of dollars. You know, like, and we're not stopping here. Like, we're opening up another location in Cedar Rapids. You know, that's in the works as we speak. You know, like, we're already starting that. You know, there's like, I mean, it's not going to stop. Like, we're gonna dominate this area. We're gonna dominate this industry.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, again, it's like, and it's stories like this that are, I mean, dude, I don't think there's a single person, unless you are completely fucking jaded at this point, that didn't want that feeling when they got into business.
Yeah.
It's like the only thing that you want, you know, I know I can only speak for me. The only thing that I wanted when I got into business is I wanted to have a business. I don't care about working 14, 18 hours. Like, it doesn't matter. If there's money, like, I'm going after it. What I wanted to do is just to have that consistent flow. I wanted to have, you know, something that I could see that was building, something that, you know, benefited other people. And, but I was still making money. Right. And it's like, so many people now in the restoration arena are damn near, you know, beating their head against like a concrete wall, trying to figure out, hey, how do I forget? We talk about a lot of millions, right? And multiple 7 figures. Some people are just trying to get to that first 7 figure.
Yeah.
Right. And they're having a really, really hard time even doing that. And, you know, they're trying everything under the sun and they don't quite get it. Right. They're trying different marketing. They're trying this, they're trying that. And dude, it's just fucking tough. And I think that people get jaded after a while. And instead of, you know, knowing that there is not like one off, like there's like, hey, there's a John that I heard one time somewhere that did this thing and it's like working out. It's not that. It's like on this podcast alone, this little corner of the podcasting universe, like what we've been able to do, I feel, is just like shine a light on, hey, this is, if you're willing to spend money on marketing, right, which is the most normal, you know, the most entrepreneurial thing you could possibly do in business, right? Nobody can argue that advertising is key, marketing is key. This is like your best marketing vehicle.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
And dude, like, I listen, and I have an agency. Like, that's what I do. I help like restoration contractors, like, go from like this point to the next point.
Yeah.
But I'm no, like, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, it's like the numbers are the numbers. When you have something that you can start up that has a playbook attached to it, right? Like a cheat code, and be like, hey, look, oh yeah, you want to do that job? No. Don't do those. And why you don't do those jobs? This and this. The ones that you do. This is your service offering. These are your high profit margin things. This at this point, and you've got not just John, but then you've got all of these other people that we've brought onto the show, that are giving you basically the same, you know, testimonial over and over and over. And we're talking all shapes and sizes, like all backgrounds, all education levels, like you name it. So it's not like a one-off. It's like, oh, it's like, you know, it only works for him because he's like down in South Florida.
No, it works everywhere. And my population is like 300,000-ish or less. So we have a really small population. So imagine what you could do in a bigger location. You know what I mean? Like, I only have access to less than 300,000, like 254,000, I think it is. It's really small. Yeah. And I tell you this, like
those numbers, all of a sudden now you just like put that in perspective.
Yeah.
Like those numbers, like all of a sudden now hit totally different.
Yeah.
You should have led with that.
Yeah.
You should have led with that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's rewind it though. No, but I mean, like 254,000 people in my area, and that with that much revenue, I think that we could easily do 5 million in my area without really like driving too hard. But yeah, like I tell people all the time, it's a little inside joke we have here in our company. Roto-Rooter is like the Kmart of the industry, right? They've been around for a long time. They're big, but we're like fucking Amazon. We're coming. Yeah. We're gonna shut them the fuck down.
Yeah, and that's the beauty too. But like, you know, in many ways, being like the new kid on the block, right?
Yeah.
Is, you know, companies get, you know, they rest on their laurels. They're comfortable. You know, they're all like laying back.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
we've been at this for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like the Kmart, right? It's
Yeah.
the best example ever.
Toys R Us and
It's like the
Kmart. Yeah, they
Kmart.
just stepped on Amazon. They didn't do nothing about it. They seen it coming and didn't do nothing about it. It's too late.
Yeah.
It literally is too late now.
What was the bookstore that went out? Was it like Books A Million or whatever that like Amazon like made them like a stupid, ridiculous offer and they like didn't take it and they ended up like going out of business or something like that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really exciting, man, to like hear stories like this. I appreciate you like jumping on the show and
absolutely, man.
Sharing a little bit. I'd love to have you back on maybe sometime in the future week, because you've got, you know, as a side note, like, you've got tons of stories to tell.
Oh yeah.
You know, which we'd love to dive into those at a later date. Parting words, right? For anybody who's listening. And I want you, if at all possible, right? If you had the ability to know that as you speak into the microphone, you were going to just be speaking to the younger version of yourself, right? And, you know, you're speaking to someone's listening to you right now who was in your position. They weren't in a bad position, but they wanted growth and they were stuck. Like, what would you tell yourself?
Why are you still listening to this podcast? And why haven't you already called one Tom Plumber? What the fuck? Do you need Leah's number? I'll give you guys Leah's number right now. Why have you guys not already called Leah one Tom Plumber? That's what I would say. I would say it's crazy. Like, if there's not already a one Tom Plumber in your area, you better fucking jump on it before somebody else does. That's it. That's all I gotta say, because these guys are fucking coming for blood. They are fucking relentless. This is what happened to me. That is real quick. It was me or they were interviewing somebody from it was my competition in this fucking area. When I heard that, I was like, fuck. They're going to be the first to market with this shit. I can't let it happen.
Oh, you got side chick closed.
Dude, I was like,
no.
Yes.
You got side chick closed.
Dude, it was going to be me or another company, man. And I was like, oh no, they're already talking to somebody in this fucking area. And that's all I could think of. Like, man, it's already bad enough. Somebody's got 1-800 board up. I can't get that. Somebody already does, you know, has all the commercial work. Now on top of that, they're going to have the plumbing company too. So I got blessed, man. They chose me over them. If you already, you're a plumber in your area, Google it right now. If one doesn't pop up in your immediate area, call Leah at One Tom Plumber right now. That's it. Call her right now and just at least go see them. It costs you a plane ticket and a day. Go see them.
Yeah. And, you know, on the flip side of that scenario, Rocky has mentioned this like on the show, like he's mentioned it and you mentioned it openly as well. Like, I know that there's tons of people that are out there probably like their brains tick probably like mine. If I have an opportunity to be a fly on the wall, even for a moment, to kind of get a lay of the land, just to even see like, hey, you know, if I did this, if somebody could do it, I could probably do it. Maybe you're that type of person. Great. Have at it. But even that's a masterclass, I think, in education and how you can potentially take your business to the next level. So what I'll do for all the dominators out there listening, in the show notes and in the video description below, I'm going to leave a couple of links for you, contact information. That way you don't even have to like, you know, go anywhere and try to find this information, but it's all going to be in the video description and in the show notes. And John, man, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. I wish we had some more time. I feel like we were just starting to jam out, but yeah, let's definitely go ahead and make it a point to get you back on the show. And as always, dominators, hustle, hack, dominate. I will catch you guys on the next one.
You've been listening to Restoration Domination, your #1 resource for tips, tricks, and hacks to help your business grow. Subscribe to our channel and follow us for more Restoration Domination. And follow our host at Rico Garcia Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Till next time, this is Restoration Domination. Hustle, hack, dominate.